Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 13, Episode 1. So we are back. The girls are back, you guys, and we just gonna get the elephant out the room real quick. Everybody's picked up weight. Everybody's makeup is a little struggly. Not everybody's, but some more than others, okay? I just feel like I need to say that at the beginning so people don't feel like I'm not, we see it. I mean, we all had COVID weight and we all got fluffy. So it's really, it's not that big of a deal. Once everybody gets back into the swing of work, and I'm sure that they will all lose that weight. You can already tell in the confessionals that some of them have dropped, but yeah, y'all, I was just like, let me get that out the way because people are going to be like, hey, you didn't even say nothing about you. I saw it. Definitely, I saw it. Y'all know I just don't like to be talking about, women be having enough shit to worry about, That's why some days is good and some days is bad. Good hair days, good makeup days, good body days, and bad days all the same. So that's why we just, I saw it, you guys, okay? But anyway, the rest of the show, let's get to it, shall we? It's good to see the girls back. It's been an interesting year. I didn't think that they would be back on time. Actually, they're just a month later than they were. And so they actually did really good as long as they're, as far as their schedule is concerned. I think Bravo was like, no, if anybody's going to be sacrificed, it cannot be Real Housewives of Atlanta. That show makes a lot of money for them. So they needed to try to stick to as close to the schedule as they could. And so that was why they kind of delayed Potomac and brought Potomac down as far as they could. So it would be close to Real Housewives of Atlanta. And, the momentum can keep going, even though we don't need momentum for Real Housewives of Atlanta. That should just pick up all on its own. Anyway, you guys, the review. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, so before the show starts, they do it a little differently. I almost gave you a feel of the reunion where, we see the girls, they're going into the studio, they're going to get their makeup done, their hair done, and they're doing their confessional looks there. We're used to them doing them in their home or, with some sort of green screen behind them, but they're actually doing it in the studio. I think this is just so that they can contain everything. Everybody is there. They made sure that they were tested and then they can get this footage on camera. So they're just talking to the girls about how strange the world has been these last, since March, since the quarantine happened, since the pandemic started, how crazy it's been. They feel like they've been in prison, having to stay in their home, can't really go anywhere. Of course, we talk about all of the civil unrest that's going on in the country, Black Lives Matter movement, the killing of George Floyd, the killing of Breonna Taylor. We have Porsha, who is fighting the good fight, and she talks about just her experience in protesting. So I was like, oh, they're going to start the year off, righteous, because they know it's going to be a whole bunch of fool fucking niggardry coming up later in the season. And we don't want to mix the two. So let's get the serious stuff out real quick at the beginning, and then we can get to the ignorant. So that's how the show opens, kind of sets the tone for what's happening in this episode. Now we see Cynthia. Okay, she's at her home. Again, she's talking to herself, oh, I gotta make sure I have these hors d'oeuvres so everybody, People, they be killing me with that talking to themselves, thinking shit. But anyway, she is preparing for a little lunch that she's having for the girls. Going to come by the house, I guess. She said that she's been quarantining out in LA with her fiance, #chill. So now she is back, and it feels so good to be in Lake Bailey. So she's out there setting up a full table and, food and drinks in her driveway. All right. I guess we're going to just social distance as far as we can from the house. Candy pulls up first. Oh, look at you. Aren't you sexy today? You just sexied it up, didn't you? Candy was like slobbering a little bit at Cynthia's titties. I was just like, oh, they juicy. And for whatever reason, Cynthia just wants them to be completely out. Candy was like, she didn't know that we was doing it like that today. You know, she thought it was just gonna be something easy breezy. The producers didn't tell her to get all glammed up like this. But anyway, yeah, Candy couldn't get over them titties being out. She tells Cynthia that she had her COVID test. You know, they did it in her throat this time. Todd said that because I'm so good with stuff going down my throat. She says that she feels like their sex life is the same basically throughout COVID, but you know, she's been home with her family just like everybody else. So anyway, they sit down, you know, they kind of chopping it up, chatting or whatever, and then here comes Marlo, and she's extra as usual. Now this is freaking amazing. I live for the ambiance. She says she loves all of this that Cynthia has done. Okay, now Marlo has her face shield on. Marlo is making sure she has to takes everybody's temperature. Okay. 97.5, 97.3, y'all good, you know, making sure that everybody is 6 feet away from each other with the measuring tape. You know, Marlo's gonna be extra. I said, Marlo, where Nene? Stop. Anyway, so everything is weird because we got to remember COVID now. You know, anybody talk to Porsha? And they were like, no, but, you know, they all admire what Porsha's been doing. You know, they've been watching her on social media, and, you know, Porsha Luther King, and she's out there and yada, yada, yada. Even Candy says, I'm really proud of what Porsha is doing. She has really definitely come a long way. We see some of Porsha's not so glowing moments. We flash by those. But that's a different day, a different time. This new Porsha, like I said, Porsha Luther King. And what about Kenya? Okay, Cynthia says, you know what, let her FaceTime Kenya right now. So she is trying to FaceTime Kenya, but they got a bad connection, and Kenya's getting frustrated. Marlo asked her if she had Metro Wi-Fi. Ooh, that Marlo is something else. Cynthia was like, no, I have good Wi-Fi here, but whatever. Cynthia gets disconnected from Kenya. Actually, it looked like Kenya just hung up. Now, later on, we see Cynthia. She's at the house with #chill, and like I said, she's happy to be back in Lake Bailey. So is #chill. You know, they've been in LA and they've had all the kids around them. And, you know, he makes it very clear that, you know, when they have sex, that she has to muffle her sounds, you know, whatever I was like, we didn't really need the damn description. I mean, now they can have sex freely. And #chill just really enjoys all of Cynthia's new curves. That ass. I said, okay, more cushion for the pushing. Anyway, Cynthia says that the quarantine was a good test for their relationship. And, you know, she knows more now than ever that she will be getting married to #chill. But she's been stressed because she has this whole dream wedding in mind, you know, 10-10-20. That's her dream day. That's her, you know, perfect day for them, and they have to have it done on that day. Well, #chill was like, well, you know, I mean, we didn't know that the pandemic was going to happen. There's certain things that we just cannot control, because Cynthia's upset because her wedding, her person that's assisting her set this whole thing up. They told her that the restriction is just 50 guests. And she was like, I have 250 guests. She's upset about that. And he was like, look, I don't even care about all that. Like, if it's just you and I, or if it's just you and I and 50 guests, then we can do that, you know, as long as you and I are getting married. But Cynthia is going on and on about how her last wedding was not all that memorable, and it was so much drama going on, and, you know, people didn't support it, and, you know, so it wasn't really how her dream wedding would be. So now, you know, I guess she's in a much better place financially, emotionally, physically. You know, she's with this man that she loves with her whole heart. You know, she wants to have that dream wedding now. You might not be able to do it, or I mean, we know she was able to do it, but you know, at that time it was just sort of like, well, Cynthia, I mean, you may not be able to. I mean, like #chill said, the most important part is them getting married. Maybe they just had to get married on that day, just the two of them, and then they have a ceremony afterwards. Well, that's not good enough for Cynthia either. It has to be 10-10-20, or, you know. And he was like, well, what's with the hesitation? He's feeling like maybe she's feeling like if she don't do it that day, she don't want to do it at all. And she was like, that's not what I'm saying. The whole thing is silly, because it's just sort of like, well, I mean, you can pout, but it is what it is. So if there's restrictions on it, it ain't really nothing else anybody could do at this time. You know, as you got closer to the day, you can see that Atlanta is with the shits, and they're going to let you have your party that you wanted to have indoors with all of them people and the COVID just flying free. But at that moment when they was filming, What could you do? I said, Cynthia, girl, this ain't your first wedding, child. It's okay. Just simmer down. It'll all work out. Now let's jump over to Kenya, you guys. When she hung up from Cynthia earlier, she was actually on her way to the lawyer. Okay. Finally time to try to see if we can make this divorce, swing it into action. So she's in the car. She is talking to Brandon on the phone, and she's telling him how nervous she is because, it just ain't been good with her and Mark. Mark is over it completely. Mark has been over it for some time. I don't even think Mark was ever under it for him to get over it. I don't know how this whole relationship happened. She was like, they were together 3 years when she said that to the lawyer. I was like, what? It's been 3 years? Child, who knew? But anyway, Kenya says that she's tired of being sad and it's time to really move forward with this whole thing. So she's just tired of being sad. So hopefully this is going to be it. So she gets to the lawyer's office. The lawyer pulls her in the back and he's talking to her about her relationship with Mark. And she just says, it was going okay. They looked like they were really trying to work on the marriage. And then COVID happened. And then they had to be forced to be quarantined. His businesses were up that way. She's here in Atlanta. His businesses suffered like everybody's business did, especially in New York at that time. They were the epicenter, remember? So I'm sure shit got real strained, and Mark doesn't seem like the person that is the nicest when he is stressed. I mean, he ain't nice when he not stressed. So I can imagine how he is when he is very upset about his businesses. And she said it just went bad there. Her and Brooklyn went there because she wants to make sure Brooklyn has a relationship with him. And it just didn't go well. She just wants to see what she needs to do in this divorce. She wants to make sure that none of her assets gets caught up with his. And, and the lawyer's like, well, you guys only been together 3 years, so it's not like you guys have much together. She said she bought a car and she gave that to him because she didn't even want it. But other than that, they didn't really acquire anything together, so that won't affect them. The problem is going to be the baby. Not really a problem, but the custody situation, and whether or not, I guess, I'm sure Mark is going to want to have contact with his daughter. So, and then they're in different states and everything, so it can get tricky. When the producers ask Kenya in the confessional how Mark's relationship is with his other children, she just says that she'd rather not answer that. That's a loaded question. So, I mean, we already know that they at least have a troubled relationship if she says it like that, So anyway, she wants to do this. The lawyer says, well, you can either do a separation where you guys can try to figure out the custody, or you can just do a flat out divorce. Well, Kenya feels like she needs to work out the custody issues before she starts talking divorce, because divorce is going to get nasty and we need to get that custody on paper first. Okay. Niggas get to changing their mind when you get to the divorce and you start saying things and finding out stuff and getting real mad, and then you want to change the custody agreement. So yeah, get the custody shit out of the way first. I'm agreeing with Kenya on this, and then we can move on to the divorce. So, okay. So the meeting is over officially, off air, but still mic'd up. The lawyer's telling Kenya that she needs to stop being so self-deprecating and trying to bend herself backwards for this man. Okay. You a good person. You deserve more. Basically, stop doing that. And she was just like, I know. Okay. I was like, oh, Kenya. Girl, just the only good that came out of that relationship is that baby. Later on, we see Cynthia go over to Kenya's house. Actually, Cynthia and Candy are both meeting her at her house. She wants to show them something. So when they get there, Kenya was like, put these things on your feet. They're going to go in the backyard, and we see that she's getting this humongous ass pool. That thing is going to be so nice whenever it's finished. I could just tell just from looking at that, the way it looked like it was landscaped, and the way I was like, that's going to be a dope ass backyard. But anyway, she said that she's moving forward. Her and Mark don't look like it's going to work out. So she's just getting her backyard the way that she wants it. Side note, I know I said I'm not going to harp on the people's weight and the makeup, y'all, but, Kenya's Queen of Sheba confessional look, It was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I think it was a very beautiful look, but it was very costumey. Like, I was just like, something just took it all the way over the top to costumey and not just her dressing to accentuate the Afrocentric culture, you know, that she's a part of. I was like, something ain't, girl, I was like, is that a wig? It was just so much braid and it came right here. Child, just like, oh, how long we gonna have this look in the confessional? Anyway, getting back to the show. When they go in the house and, you know, take the things off their feet and go sit down, have some wine. You know, Candy, I love your house. It's so neat and clean. She says that she can't keep her house clean. And then, you know, Miss Peggy couldn't come because of COVID. And, you know, I was like, Candy, you got way more moving parts than Kenya. Whenever I see people who have just like pristine, beautiful homes like that, it's usually either they're single or it's just them and one child or them and their husband, where they ain't got to be trying to tell 15 different people to stop leaving shit everywhere. So, Candy, your house is lived in family. And Kenya's home is, you know, a single woman with little teeny tiny baby. So that's why it's different. But her house is beautiful, I must say. I think her house, but I knew that house was going to be beautiful from when she first got it. And she really did a good job with it. Anyway, you guys, we get to talking about Mark and the divorce, you know, and how she's moving forward with it, or at least she's, you know, finding out what her options are. Kenya tells him that she went to New York. You know, her and Brooklyn went up there to New York, and it was just bad because Mark picks fights with her, and, you know, he basically triggers her. He pushes her buttons, and, I mean, we've seen him do it last season, so I can see where all that would be happening. It seems like you doing everything, like you going there with Brooklyn to figure everything out, and he should be doing that. He should be coming to you. Which I agree. I mean, everybody needs to be doing their part in this relationship. It's probably easier. It seemed like it would be easier for Mark to come, considering he doesn't have the baby. But whatever. The bottom line is, it's not working no more. You know, Cynthia was like, I don't like the way that he treats you, the way that he talks to you. I mean, if you wanted to work it out and, you know, this is what you decided for your life, then fine. But if it ain't working, it ain't working. You know, if it don't fit, don't force it. It just seems like it's either his way or the highway. It just seems like Mark doesn't want to be there, you know, and let's not draw it out. Get the divorce. I mean, there's not much more to it than that. He doesn't want to be there, so let the nigga go. Now, let's jump over to Porsha. So I told you guys earlier that Porsha is working with Tamika and her foundation. Can't think of the name of the foundation right now, but they're working on trying to get justice for Breonna Taylor. We know that off of the show and on the show. So anyway, when they were filming for this show, this was right when George Floyd had just got killed. Breonna Taylor had just gotten killed. So they were actually on their way to Kentucky to do this big protest. Remember, they were going to go to the governor's house, I believe, was what this protest was. That, well, one of the ones that they were going there, the main ones that they were going there for. So, you know, Porsha's just talking about her experience with civil rights and fighting for civil rights, and, you know, how she hasn't always been the most knowledgeable about it, but she can remember when she was a child. I was with my grandfather and it was a lot of KKK and I couldn't understand why they didn't like us. She's told us that story a few times. Hosea Williams is her grandfather, who is a big name out here. He has Hosea Feed the Hungry and Homeless, and I've heard many stories about Hosea Williams. Very colorful man, but trying to make a difference for Black people out there. So anyway, she's talking about getting out there on the battlefield and fighting the good fight, like I said, this time for Breonna Taylor. So before she goes out there, or before she goes out on them streets, she's already in Kentucky. Actually, she and the super have arrived in Kentucky. I was like, oh, y'all was still together? I forgot all about the superintendent. I was just like, ooh, you don't hear nothing about Dennis no more. Like actually, I don't follow her anymore, so I don't know, but yeah, we didn't kick Dennis all the way to the wayside, but as far as this episode is concerned, her and Dennis are down there. So we see clips and scenes of her doing different protests and trying to fight and all of that, when they're hitting them with tear gas and her not being able to breathe. And then she does say that she wants to make it clear that she is about to go and do this. If she gets arrested, she's not trying to kill herself. She would never do that. And that the whole intention of doing this was just so that she can get justice for Breonna Taylor. and nothing more. So if the shit go left, then you guys know that she was not the reason for it to go left. So we see her out there. They're at the governor's house, I'm presuming, because you can see a house in the background, and she gets arrested. Then you guys, our favorite family, the Burress Tuckers. Come on, Riley. Come on, Riley. I'm coming, dang. How many times are you going to say my name? I'm gonna say it until you come out the house. As a family, we are all about to be outside, and this is in June in Atlanta. It had to be a good 90 degrees, and of course, with the humidity, that should feel like 115, but anyway, they're out there washing the car. Another elephant in the room that we must address. I've already talked to you guys about Riley's nose job. We talked about it in Top of the Blogs when it first came down the pike. What I will say about it, she's a young girl. I'm not trying to knock her or anything. I had a friend who had a nose job. A very close friend of mine had a nose job. That nose job was fresh. Like, it looked like she had just probably got it done within a couple of weeks before, because she didn't have a nose job at her graduation. I don't believe she did. And then this is somewhere in the middle of June, and she's had this nose job. So I'm sure she had a lot of more swelling. Her face still has to settle. It probably takes a good year before you start to really look like how your face is going to be. So her face is still going to go through some changes. You can definitely tell there is some swelling there. It's very noticeable that she got this nose job. I told you guys before, I didn't think that Riley needed to have a nose job. But it's her nose, it's her face. People do what they want to do to their bodies. I have wanted to have a nose job. I won't probably do a nose job. I can't imagine me doing it now, but in the past I've wanted to have one. I'm not happy with my nose, but if it really if all of the stars lined up and all the cards lined up correctly, then maybe I would, I think I would get a tummy tuck first. I've told you guys that plenty of times. I'm fine with the nose. This the fucking nose that I got. This my mom and daddy nose put together. People do these things for their own personal reasons. So I didn't think she needed it, but who asked me? Okay, that's just sort of kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, it'll look different as she goes on. Now, Riley is going to be going to NYU. I can't live with you guys much longer. That's what all of the kids say when they graduate from high school. Then they be calling you 15 times, stressing you out that first freshman year because they want to come home and they so sad there and they don't know nobody or it ain't nothing to do and all. Yeah, you get your ass out. But anyway, Todd was like, he got eyes on Riley. Got to make sure that she's okay. He gonna have Kayla check up on her. I was like, Todd, now you know good damn well that Kayla and Riley do not hang like that. But whatever. She's going away to school, and good for her. Candy get to talking about how expensive it's gonna be. You about to be on a really strict budget because NYU is going to be ridiculously high. This is how we segue into the fact that Riley feels like her father should be paying for something. He never did anything for me in the past, so I feel like he should be paying for everything now. Easier said than done. Especially easier than when you have a ignorant ass father like Block. I said, Lord, we can't. Please don't tell me that Block about to be back on this season, because he is just horrible. Block owes me about $100,000. Evidently, he was paying up until a certain point, and then I guess when he felt like Candy was making enough money, I mean, we've been through this, you guys. When he felt like Candy was making enough money, then he just felt like he didn't have to pay anything anymore. He was out there, he was having other children and all of this. I know it's all this history behind Block and Candy and how their relationship came about. It doesn't even matter. You have a child, both of you guys have this child together, so both of you guys need to contribute to the health and welfare of this child. So I mean, I can understand, but I'm sure Candy didn't feel like she needed to go after him because she could afford to take care of her daughter fine, but it's just the principle of the thing. I called him and he told me that I was acting like a broke bitch, or he said something like I was a hood rat or something. You know he ignorant when he called Candy a broke bitch. Now, she might be a whole bunch of things, but we know she not that. Didn't he come back around when I was like 15 or something, saying that he wanted a relationship? Yeah, we saw that play out on the show as well. But, too little, too late, and Riley has kind of gotten to the point where she has her friends and her family, and she knows who she loves and who loves her, and those are the people that she would rather deal with. She don't really have much time to even contribute to Block right now. And Kandi was just like, well, that's still your father, and if he's trying to, you know, I think that you should give him a chance. But the whole thing, like Todd said, was he got to show the effort. You know, you can't just say that you want to do something and then not put the action towards it. He's talking, you know, gave himself as an example when him and Kayla got back, you know, in touch with each other, or he found out about Kayla and his friends were trying to tell him, like, I wouldn't even go there. But he was like, that's my child. So you really have to put forth the effort of wanting to be around this child. You could just say shit all day, you know, and we all know that from everybody's personal experiences with these type of things. It's just some deadbeats out there who don't care. But, you know, mark my words, when they get older, they're going to regret it. You know, I have seen this happen with my friends and even with certain people in my family, that the relationship that they've had with their parents was strained growing up, and then now that their parents is old, and now they want to have a relationship with their child and their grandchildren, and it might not happen that way because, you know, you didn't ever build the foundation. It wasn't there. So it eventually comes back to them. We may not see it for a long time, but it will. Now, later on, we see Kandi. She goes to her new steakhouse, Blaze. Somebody asked me in my comments, did I believe that Don Juan and Juan from Real Housewives of Potomac was the same person? I was like, what? No, I don't think that Don Juan and Juan look alike, seem alike, same personality. I don't see no connection there at all. Other than the fact that they have beards. Like, what else am I supposed to? No, I'm sorry. I did not see the connection there. But anyway, Don Juan, you know, Kandi's right-hand man, he's there at Blaze, which is their new steakhouse that she and Todd are opening here. She said, I was just trying to find out, you know, with the success of OLG and how well it's done, Todd and I was trying to find out what else that we could do for the Southwest side, and we thought Steakhouse. Girl, if you can get that steakhouse off the ground and it, you know, if it do well, honey, Rocky loves her a medium rare steak. Oh my goodness. The place looks really nice. Todd and Kandi, they done found their little niche with these restaurants. You know, they're doing well, and not many can survive in these COVID times, and her restaurants are doing very, very well. You know, at least from the outside looking in. That shit is always COVID crowded. Okay, and it ain't even COVID crowded, it just be crowded. I was like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of fucking people over there, you know. But anyway, so good for her. While she is there with Don Juan and Todd, she gets a call from Cynthia, you know, on FaceTime. And Cynthia was just like, hey, girl, did you see what happened with Porsha? No, I saw it on the news this morning. You know, they was worried about Porsha because she got arrested. And then we see in Kentucky that Porsha, after 13 hours, her and Yandy and Tamika and I think somewhere around 27 other women, I think she said it was 30 women, they were all arrested and put in jail. And she said that the jail was dirty and nasty and cold, and you know, but she was in there with a bunch of women, and they all shared stories and they bonded together, and you know, she wouldn't change it for the world. You know, they get out of jail. We see them when they're released, and they're out front and they're hugging each other and they're singing songs. And, you know, I'm sure the spirit was really, really high at the time. And Porsha said if she learned anything from that experience is that she will be doing it again. So like I said, Porsha Luther King fighting a good fight, getting it out the way early though. The shenanigans will be starting soon. All right, you guys, so that is it. Let me get on off of here. Still got to do Real Housewives of Potomac. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel's for itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.